Hello and welcome back to my next episode, Dating Tips for Single Women. I'm your host, Antia, founder of FindTheOneElite.com. And today we have a very juicy guest here with me today. And that's Susan Sheppard.
Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
So excited to have you. And for the listeners, I always aim to bring a lot of different approaches and variety of experts to you so you can see what fits your shoe or your foot, which shoe fits your foot or whatever you want to say. So already having a good time. So let me tell you a little bit about Susan. So to get the party started here. So Susan Sheppard is the founder of Getting What You Want, a life and love coaching organization focused on teaching women to own, ladies, own their feminine power, and men to cherish women. Yes, we need more men like that. She's on a mission to get people loved the way they want to be loved. She has a very successful track record of helping people heal their wounded heart, reframe their perception of the opposite sex, and meet their perfect partner so they can find true intimacy, love, and long-term commitment. She's also an award-winning best-selling Amazon author of the books How to Get What You Want from Men Anytime and Dating After 40 No More, which is this lovely book here. Susan's 40 years as a registered nurse and emergency services honed her crisis intervention skills as a coach, I bet. She's a self-proclaimed self-awareness addict since 1978. Wow, that was certainly before I was born. So her eclectic background includes working directly for Michael Gerber, which of course we all know from the E-Myth, from the renowned business, Gerber for 3 years, being certified in NLP by Tony Robbins himself in 1990. That was back when Tony Robbins had like his little living room experiences versus like 10,000 people in the room. And she's been a headhunter in the oil industry, to top things off, a general contractor building custom homes, a movie producer, a business coach, an author and book publisher, and now a life coach specializing in love relationships. So if you have any questions at all from any angle, just approach Susan, okay? She is truly a Renaissance woman. So welcome, Susan.
All it proves, Antia, is how old I am.
I know, like we're not going to do the math. It's not about the age, it's all about the stage, right? So
yes.
Awesome.
It started up here,
I can tell. I mean, with the teal hair, I can only tell how young you are. So awesome, Susan. So tell the listener a little bit more about like how did your journey start, especially having a variety of different backgrounds, right? Like how did you end up with relationships from doing oil and from being a registered nurse and how it's like, what, I have all those skills. Let's help people in relationships. That sounds good to me,
Okay, it's a little bit of a story, but I'll tell it as quickly as I can. So I was married for 23 years to the love of my life, and he was a great man and a lost soul at the same time. He was a Vietnam vet with PTSD, and he's the father of my 3 daughters, and we were married for, like I said, for 23 years, and at some point I got very frustrated and I divorced him. Not because I didn't love him, but because I didn't know how to fix us. And I was fixing everybody, in the emergency room, but I didn't know how to fix us. So at that point, I took every relationship course I could find for my own benefit. I didn't take it to teach anybody or to do anything with it. I just did it because I wanted to know how to do it different so that I could have a better relationship. And so what happened is I started dating a young man. He was 18 years younger than me. And we only dated for a very short time because his mother and I were the same age. And yeah, it wasn't going to work. And so he went back to dating his old girlfriend, who was, I think at the time, she was 26, he was 28, and I was 46. And what happened is for 2 years, she resented me because he and I stayed friends. And it was like hostile. She was very hostile to me. And then after 2 years of them having a very dramatic relationship where they were like up and down and all over the place and breaking up and back together and getting married and not getting married and being pregnant and having a miscarriage, all this drama. And I ran into her one day and she said, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And I'm like, "Why? You don't even like me." And she said, "Well, that's true, but you have something I want." And I'm like, what do you want?" And she said, "You have the relationship that I want with the man." She said, I've been watching while I've been his girlfriend and you've been his friend. And it's always been sort of like I've had his body, but you've had his soul. And I want to know how to do that. And I want you to teach me." And so when I picked up my chin off the floor, I said,
Yes.
"No way, I don't trust you."
Right.
And what happened was she kept asking me. And so finally, after a couple months of her asking me, I said, "All right, we'll do this on a trial basis." And what happened is she ended up being my very first relationship client. I worked with her for 2 years, and we spoke almost every day and sometimes more than once a day. And during the time that I worked with her, I developed the Love with Class system. And she got married to the love of her life, who happened to be somebody she had gone to high school with, but wasn't able to see before all the work that we did. So that's how I got in the relationship business. It was more fun talking about love and sex than it was talking about management and marketing.
Oh, right. I mean, wow. I mean, who would have thought, right? That like the person who liked you the least would end up hiring you.
You just never know who's going to be what, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, you're truly a Renaissance woman. I can really tell, Susan. And so we're talking about love with class today, right? So tell us about that. Like, what do you actually refer to when you talk about this? Like, what are you actually referring to?
Well, what I'm referring to is the 5-step system that I created working with this girl, woman. Now she's 50 years old now. She was only 26.
It's like, oh, well, not so much a girl anymore.
It was a process that I would take clients through. And I didn't actually name the process until like 2010. But at that point, I realized that it was a system. And so I named it. And it is CLASS. And the CLASS stands for, C stands for clarity. L stands for love yourself. A stands for learn how to ask for what you want. The first S stands for success with the essential ingredients in a relationship. And this last S stands for step up and step out, because once you've done this work in the first 4 steps, you're ready to go out in the world and choose who you want. And it is my perception and my belief that women do the choosing and women do the ending of relationships. So if you heal your wounded heart from rejection and grow your self-esteem, you get to a place where you can walk into any room, anywhere, as a woman, when you own your feminine power, look around the room and go, "I'll take that one." And you can invite that person to be in your life, and they will be a part of your life. Now, you may not want to keep them once you do that, but you can attract literally anyone you want to attract.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us more about especially the success of the essential ingredients or whatever. Is that right? Like I forgot
what are they?
Essential ingredients, right? For the recipe of love.
Okay, the 3 essential ingredients from my perspective are chemistry, which is the easy part. Pretty much everyone knows when they have chemistry. That's the sensual attraction, the chemical, serotonin and all those chemicals that come up, and oxytocin that make you want to mate. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the actual chemistry,
Yes.
People. That's the easy part. And that's really what most people get married for. And it's probably the reason we have such a high divorce rate, because people get married for chemistry and they don't look any further. The second ingredient is compatibility. And the compatibility is with your deal breaker issues. Everyone has deal breaker issues that are unique to them. and it could be anything. It could be, smoking. It could be, any kinds of drug or alcohol abuse. It could also be personal habits. It could be sex. It could be geography. It could be politics. It could be children or in-laws. I mean, literally, it could be anything. And everyone has their own, deal breakers. So if you identify the deal breakers and you find that you are incompatible with a deal breaker, you need to say goodbye. And what happens to a lot of people is they will deny their deal breakers. They'll go into denial because he's so close to exactly what I want. But, I can deal with this later, or I can fix that, or we can change that. I mean, I've had couples that have come to me after they've been married 20 years and they end up getting divorced because one of them wanted to have children and they both agreed when they got married that they didn't. And the man will tell me, well, I thought she'd change her mind, I figured she'd change her mind. She's a woman, she's going to want to have kids eventually. And I really want a family. And they end up getting divorced after 20 years because, whatever. The third element is love with respect. You can love someone and not respect them. You can respect someone and not love them. But if you both love and respect that person, then you have compatibility and you have chemistry. You have the foundation for a decent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Missing any one of those three, I venture to say that the relationship is doomed at some point. It may take 20 years, but it will fail at some point.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. And you have to have the balance because you have to have the friendship, which is the love, right? But you also have to have the respect so that all the different archetypes that we have inside of ourselves are being acknowledged, right? So the queen wants to be respected,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't care so much about being loved. It's all great, but it's like, no, respect me, hold the door open for me, bring me flowers on Valentine's Day, right?
Cherish
Ask for
me.
my opinion. What do you say?
Cherish me.
Cherish me, exactly, right? Treasure me, celebrate me, right? So absolutely. And so you also talked about, when we talk about the class DA, like asking for what you want. And so I'm curious to hear from you what you find is like, what are some of the blind spots that those single women have, in not asking for what they want?
Well, what I find in working with clients is most women, unless they've done some work, really don't have a clear idea of what it is they want. They have a sense of it. And it's almost like I'll know it when I see it. And that doesn't work for men. Men need specifics. They need direction. They need to be asked specifically for what it is that you want. And when you give them hints, like saying something like, oh, I want you to take me away for a romantic dinner. It could be hot dogs at, Pink's. They'll think that's romantic. Or buy me something really special that I want. Without you telling them what the special thing is, they could buy you a tire iron, They think, oh, I'm taking care of her. I'm going to buy her a tire iron for her car. And don't laugh, I got one of those for Christmas one year.
Yeah, I've seen like one couple too where I think it was her birthday or Valentine's Day, I forgot, but she got like a kitchen utensil, I think a mixer. No, it was like a special thing how you would get like sort of whipped cream on. And she's like, have you ever seen me bake? Why would I need something that's like like as if she's like making like fine chocolatiers, And so
Exactly.
that was him. Like he loved doing that, right? So, but it wasn't her at all, right? So,
the thing about, and women say to me, why do I have to ask for everything? I said, because if you don't ask for it, you're going to get what they want to give you.
Exactly. So it's not that they're not going to give to you at all, but they will give you something that you don't like, right?
Yeah, something romantic. A romantic weekend for them could be, they'll take you to the boxing matches,
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then it depends also on the love language too, right? You know, some
Everything,
people
yeah.
might take you to a really great, if you're like really, you know, I learned about bank code, you know, so like if you're the really logical type, they might like museums and, you know what I mean, like documentaries and everything about history.
Or they'll buy you a computer for your birthday.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Hard drive, an extra hard drive for you.
Well, you wanted like the surprise overnight getaway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's so sad. It's so sad. I know I'm smiling because it's, you know,
It's just true. And it's not that men are not trying to please us, because they really truly want to please us, but they're pretty clueless, you know, and that's the other piece of it, is that, you know, women are very intuitive, and we tend to know what's really going on in our relationships, whereas men are kind of clueless about it. And it's not because they don't care, because they do, but they don't want to have to think about it. They don't want to have to talk about it. They don't want to have to analyze their relationship. They just want it to be there. They want it to be comfortable, and they want to know that you're going to be there and be on their team. It's like I say all the time, men want approval, appreciation, and sex. And women want acknowledgement of their intelligence and appreciation for all the effort they put out, and sensuality. And so they kind of operate on these levels, you know, they miss each other.
right, right. Yeah, and then it puts women more in the masculine, then they start to take it, you know, control because it doesn't, you know, they don't, I know.
There's a method for asking for what you want in a way that you don't, it's not like, oh, okay, tomorrow's my birthday, this is what I want you to do. It's not like that. It's like you acknowledge them first and kind of raise the bar for who they are. You know, you acknowledge them for something they've done for you in the past. You know, I really appreciate the way that you know, you value me, and that you cherish me, and you buy me these wonderful, beautiful gifts. It's not always about buying things either. You know, it can be about talking. It can be about anything really. But and then you say, you know, my birthday is 6 months away, and I'd love for you to plan a romantic getaway. And what that means is I'd like to go to the beach, maybe spend the weekend at the beach, and let's have a romantic candlelight dinner, just the two of us, so that we can talk about our life and where we're going next, and have a beautiful dinner and some wine, and then stay in some beautiful romantic place and spend the day at the beach. Now that's a specific request, but it can be 6 months in advance. And believe me, men remember when you ask them for something like that, and they'll plan it and they'll do it. But if you ask them the day before, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's true. And like time to prepare it and to, that's true. I see it with my husband. He does like everything. He remembers everything, my favorite color, my favorite food. He knows everything. You know, he knows that I love, my love language is touch. So he knows exactly what I like, and how, you know, how to convince me if there's anything he anything he wants from me. You know? He knows how to talk to me, you know.
I actually believe that, you know, the sex act itself is a metaphor for relationship, that men produce and women receive.
Yeah.
And it's not all about, you know, tangible things either, but it is about men producing results, because they're very linear, you know, and they want to please us, and they want to produce results.
Mm-hmm.
And if they know what you want, they'll climb mountains and walk over glass and, you know, swim oceans to give it to you. But if they'll even do that if they're giving you the wrong thing. I've watched, you know, clients and son-in-laws of mine that will literally jump through hoops to get a gift for particularly my daughters, you know, and I should never talk about them like this, but you know, they'll just go to extremes to give them something they want. And then my daughters will go, well, that's not what I wanted. And I'm like, well, did you tell them what you wanted? No. You know, and so they'll get it. I've seen a lot of other women do this. My daughters don't actually do this anymore. They've actually kind of got this message by default, but I've seen women do it. Well, they'll they'll hint about something and a man will bring them something, whatever it is, a gift, take them somewhere, and then they get it thrown in their face like, how could you be so stupid? That's not what I want, and yet they never asked for it directly. They hinted at it.
I know. It's like so sad. And then the man put in all the effort, and then he's not going to put the effort in anymore because he doesn't want to be emasculated, he doesn't want to be wrong.
That's right. And men will do nothing before they'll choose to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, so Susan, before we're going into like how like women can contact you and work with you, I'm actually curious to hear from you, like one of your favorite stories that you have, like from your clients or friends, like anything where you've really seen this work be so powerful, maybe even unexpected, right? Kind of like how unexpected how you got your first client.
Well, that was a surprise, and they've had a wonderful relationship. They've been married 27 years now and have 2 beautiful sons, and she gets everything she wants. But that's not the one I would talk about. The one I would talk about is I had a client, probably late 90s, 1999, I think it was. It was because she had been married for 30 years. And her husband had died. He had cancer. He was not exactly the ideal husband. He was sort of one that expected her to do everything and take care of everything and pay for everything. And he sort of sat home. And then he got cancer and he died. And he left her with a bunch of bills. And she was a nurse and she worked 2 jobs, night shift, 12-hour night shift. So she was working 7 nights a week, 12-hour shifts. And she came to me and she said, look, I really want to get married again. She was 55 at the time. I want to get married again, but this time I want to find somebody who's going to take care of me. And so I said, well, okay, we can do this, but you're going to have to do some work. And she said, I'll do whatever you want. And so the first thing I told her to do was to quit her job. She needed to get off the night shift. And so she did. She got off, quit her 2 jobs, her 2 12-hour night shift jobs, and got a job being a critical care transport nurse, which meant she was working 10 24-hour shifts a month, which gave her 20 days a month to meet people. Then I told her she had to go meet 40 men and not date them, but meet them and find out who they were and really expand her perception of who's out there for her. And we did a lot of fun things. We did glamour shots and we went shopping for clothes because the only clothes she had were scrubs because that's all she did was work and sleep.
Right, yeah.
And I told her at that time, this was before the internet dating. I said, well, if you want to meet a lot of men, you're going to have to put some ads in the personals. And as I'm saying it, I'm thinking there's no way this woman is ever going to do this. She's 55 years old. She's going to tell me I'm crazy. But she didn't. She actually did it. And that's why we did the glamour shot, so she could put the glamour shot photos in the ads. And she started dating and started meeting a whole lot of men. She was not the most beautiful woman on the face of the earth, but she was a real sweetheart. And so around November, I think, she invited me over for Thanksgiving. And she said, there's someone I want you to meet. So I went to meet her at her house and to meet this gentleman. And here's this man looking at her like she is the most gorgeous woman on the planet. He's like, can I get you some tea, dear? Do you need anything? And he's looking at her like she is just it, And I'm saying to her, what's not to like? And she said, well, he is not very cute, but he's really nice. And I said, he looks adorable to me, and he looks like he adores you. And she said, well, he's got till the end of the year to propose, or I'm going to the balcony and yelling next. He took her to Paris for New Year's 2000 and proposed under the Eiffel Tower. And they had a big wedding in June. They've been married for 17 years since then. They have this fabulous relationship. Turns out that he had quite a bit of money and assets. So they invested some of that money. They built some houses, and now they travel to Europe just for art shows and, plays. And they live at the beach in one of the houses they built. And they have 2 other rentals. She has no money worries. She has this wonderful man who absolutely worships her, and she has a whole different life than what she had before. And because she did the Love with Class program.
Wow. Oh, Susan, this is so awesome. Like, I'm sure now the ladies are really ready to find out how they can work with you. So tell them, like, what they can do. Obviously, you have your lovely book here, but what can they do in addition? What else do you have for them to
Well,
get more of you?
there's a website they can visit, and it's called The Recipe for Love. And it will give them a download. I believe it's the Love with Class. Well, it's the blueprint, sort of the recipe of the Love with Class. It gives them the 5 steps, and it gives them a download of that. And then they can enroll if they want to into my 4 weeks of free group coaching and get the download of the program. And they also can contact me by going to Getting What You Want and setting up a free strategy meeting with me. I'm willing to speak to anybody about their relationship situation and see if there's a way that I can help them. And there's no charge for that. It's like an hour consultation with me to see if there's a way, if my system will work for them, or if there's something I can do to help them. That would be the 2 ways.
Awesome, Susan. So awesome. Yeah, so ladies, so write down the information. So say it again, Susan. That was like 2 different websites.
Recipeforlove.com
Recipeforlove.com
or gettingwhatyouwant.com.
Gettingwhatyouwant.com. So ladies, write that down and get your cutie booty over there and grab it as long as it's available, because Susan is a gem, I'm telling you. So awesome.
We have a lot of fun on those calls too. The strategy meeting calls, they're just fun. I just have a conversation with them about what their life's been like and who they need to be in order to attract who they want, and if they need some other than conscious work, I do that too.
Yes. Awesome, Susan. That's awesome. Yeah, and for the ladies who are really saying, I'm done with struggling attracting emotionally unavailable men. Okay, so hop on over to findoneelite.com, sign up for your complimentary session with me, and we'll see how we get you off the track, the wreck, the train wreck, that you're on right now.
Well, especially the people with the broken pickers, the broken man pickers.
Totally, right?
People,
yes.
The ones who've been married 2, 3, 4 times and end up married to the same man over and over again. Those are the ones that I have the most luck with and most effect on, because I can change their perception of who's out there for them.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show today, Susan.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful experience.
You're just so fun, I mean, it's just, how can I not have you? And insightful at the same time. So that's the best combo, right? A recipe for love. So with that, my listeners, Antia Boyd, findoneelite.com. I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.